Now, with AFCON fever taking over South Africa, actually the whole African continent, it is interesting to see what's been happening in all the games, in all the groups, and looking forward to Bafana's big one against Senegal on Friday. Joining me in studio to chat a bit more about this is a former Bafana player, Calvin Marlin, 16 caps for the national team, definitely did us proud in the 2006 Africa Cup of Nations. Thank you so much for speaking to us here on ANN7. Have you been enjoying the AFCON action?
Well, the little bit I've seen, some of the quality is a bit lacking, I think. But, I think it's a bit of entertainment, at least, for some guys.
Let's talk about Bafana's performance in the last game. Not something we'd like to see in the opening match of the Africa Cup of Nations.
Yeah, I think the result wasn't good. The way we played in the second half of the first, and then until we scored, it was very good. We should have scored a few goals. After that, I think we lost a bit of concentration. Should have just, controlled the game a bit better. And then I think the result would have helped us a lot, and missing the penalty obviously changed the game.
One of the big talking points was Darren Keat. Do you think he should have saved those 3 goals?
Well, the third one especially. I mean, that was just a little bit of a mistake on his part from technique, the way he went down and it slipped under him. The second one was a very powerful shot. Yes, they say near post, but at the end of the day, it was a very good shot. And, the own goal, the little touch just beat him there. So I don't know if he was kind of anticipating that he was going to miss it, but I don't think he had a chance with the first one.
Do you think he lacked confidence in the back?
I think what happened is the first half he did well, he made that great double save, and then all of a sudden I think the whole team just kind of stepped back and they lost a bit of self-belief, and I think that filtered through even to Darren at the back there, that they felt a bit under pressure, and I think the nerves actually got to them near the end.
What does Shakes Mashaba do? Does he stick with Darren Keat, the most experienced of the goalkeepers, or does he try a different combination?
Well, knowing Shakes, he's bound to surprise us. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he puts another keeper in. The way he's been going, he's chopping and changing players and letting players play. As a goalkeeper, I've made mistakes, and the best thing is to actually play a game straight after.
Yeah.
To get that confidence going, make a good save and keep going. Because you never know what will happen to Darren if you drop him now after one maybe semi-good performance, if you want to call it that. Because he was doing well before that.
Yeah,
so it's a bit tough on him, I think, if he gets dropped. But, this is Shakes. I think we'll see what happens.
The thing will be mental, definitely going into this next match. If he, say, goes with Brilliant Kuzwayo or Jackson, possibly, they'll also be feeling, oh, if I don't perform in this game, the coach is going to drop me, isn't it?
Yeah, that could be the message you could send as well, is that, you're under pressure from the get-go, that you make 1-2 mistakes, you're out of the team. And as a keeper, you don't really get that 20 minutes in a game to prove yourself again. So you have to wait for the next keeper to either have a bad run or make a few mistakes and you're in. So, yeah, if he sends that message that, the next keeper, if you come in and make a mistake, you're out, then they'll definitely be playing with a lot of nerves.
What is Darren Keat's strength?
His overall game. He's good in all areas, I think. He's got the speed, the quickness, the good feet, good hands normally. Just on this one occasion, he kind of let himself down there, really. But I think his mental strength, and that's always been my thing. For a goalkeeper to be playing overseas, you have to be mentally strong, because like in this game, he made the one mistake and now he's going to be under a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Something that stood out for me is that communication with the backline and the goalkeeper. That was somehow missing in that second half of the second half. How important is that relationship between the defenders and the goalkeepers?
No, very important, because obviously as a keeper, we're standing at the back, we can see a lot more as to what's going on and what's happening. But at the end of the day, if the back four aren't listening to you, there's the other side of the coin. I mean, a lot of times I've given instructions and they've done the exact opposite. So, I think also as a team, they kind of lost a bit of shape and things like that. And I don't know about how the crowd is and how noisy it was there and things like that, if they had a battle with communicating.
Eric Matoho is back, and he seemed to be that one player that was gelling that back line together. How much do you know about that relationship between him and Darren and that back line?
Well, not much. I mean, I haven't really been involved in Bafana, but I expect that, over the years, the experience between the two of them, they'll be able to understand what is needed and what needs to be done. And that's where I think, like in the old days, you had a Neil Tovey that was really controlling everything. Because at times, the keeper's also not up with play. I mean, they're a little bit further up the pitch and they can't hear what the keeper's saying and what's going on. So you need a strong leader there in the middle. Somebody like Neil, so like Eric can take that role, that'll be great for us.
You said we lost shape, and that's very true. In that second half, we didn't seem to know where we're going. You also spoke about how important is it after you score a goal to just keep calm. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, it's one of those things in South Africa. I think Gordon Ingerson actually said to us one time at Sundowns, he says, if you actually didn't put the score up on the screen and you're watching South African games, you would think that you would think the one team is actually behind, the one that's actually pushing to go and score second goals and losing shape and going all over the place, and they're the ones in the lead. And you actually need to sometimes just take a foot off, keep control of the game, control the pace, slow it down, because the other team are the ones that are now under pressure to come and score. I mean, the worst case scenario, you 1-1 and you start afresh if that's what happens. But to control the game, hit them on the counter, because the other team has to push to try and score.
How does Shakes Mashaba now approach this game against Senegal? Very, very big players, very tall players. How does he approach it?
Well, I think we must keep doing what we did in the second half of the first half, if I can put it that way, is keep the ball on the floor, quick movements, 1-2s. No use playing long balls with these guys. We're not going to win much in the air. I mean, our strikers have got pace. If anything, put it on the floor behind the back four, get in behind them, and just control the pace of the game like that. But we can't play the long ball like we were trying to do at times. I mean, there's no ways we're going to win it in the air.
Do you think he'll make quite a few changes up front?
I don't know. It depends on how he feels with Ranchi and his performance on the day as well. I mean, every player is allowed to have bad games. I mean, that's normal. So it also depends on what he feels is a backup and what he needs for the next match against Senegal. I think we definitely need a win. I think a draw is really going to put us under pressure against Ghana. So to get a result against Senegal is of the utmost importance.
Is Ghana living up to that standard?
I think they've actually taken a step back. They've had that years of all their strong names and the strong players. I think they've actually lost a bit now that there's kind of a change in the team. I mean, the Ghana team that we played against a couple of years ago was unbelievable. I mean, they were very strong. But I think, like with every other country, and hopefully like South Africa, we're actually going in an upward trend. And with Ghana, I think they're also kind of starting at the bottom and building up again.
Do you think experience has let us down in the squad?
It could at times. That's what I'm saying in this game, especially when we went 1-0 up. It's a tournament. I mean, we're not here to win games 3-4-0. I mean, 1-0 is good enough. And at times, you've got to remember there's 3 games within a week. So when the pace is high, you've got to bring it down, save the legs a bit, because as it goes into the tournament, you're going to start feeling it.
Lots of people have been calling for Kune, obviously, hoping that he'd be, hoping that he would have been picked. Do you think that his experience would have made a very big difference?
It would have. I mean, he's had so many international games, and that's one thing I said the other day when I was interviewed by another reporter, is that we needed to have a situation where we've got a few keepers on a lot of caps, the same as the rest of the infield players. You can't have Kune playing every single game that we play, and then if something happens to him like it did, we're sitting with inexperienced keepers at the back. And unfortunately for us, we lost Senzo, who was also just stepping into that role beautifully. Absolutely. So, there was a little bit of a gap left there when it comes to experience.
Absolutely. Now, you've played in Africa. You know what comes with playing there. Give us an idea of the hostilities and how difficult it is to actually face opposition there.
It is quite terrifying at times. I mean, I remember some guys were even crying in the bus because they were stoning us and things like that. So, the things that you don't know about, it's quite daunting for a lot of the youngsters, especially if it's been like early in their career to go into Africa. The food is normally not very good, so physically you feel kind of drained. But normally Bafana have that sorted out quite well for the guys. Also boredom sets in because there's not much to do in a lot of these countries. There's no real outside of football entertainment, and if you're there for a few weeks, it really does get tedious. And I think that's where I think we kind of suffered a bit. I think in 2006 with our side, we just kind of sat around, and it gets a bit bored. A lot of guys get very bored and they switch off. Yeah. And then when it gets time to actually work, it was quite hard.
How does Shakes Mashaba keep the boys motivated after such a big loss?
Well, I mean, if he analyses the game, he looks at them and shows them a lot of the positives that they did in the game. I mean, I think the guys won't really be that down from the point of view of performance overall. I mean, if you look over the full 90 minutes, yes, we conceded 3 goals, which, in the last few games, we haven't conceded many at all. So that was a bit of a turnaround for us. So hopefully it's an eye-opener for the guys to realise that we can't just always just bomb forward and take the bull by the horns, that there is times that we need to relax. So I think you'll just keep the camp happy, take them away a bit from football for an hour or two just to let them get away from it, and then, bomb forward for the next match.
Looking at Africa Cup of Nations as a whole, is there any team that has stood out for you, their performances, their strength, just going past the group stages?
Well, I enjoyed, I was watching a bit of Ivory Coast and things like that, those experienced countries. You can see there's, the guys they know what they're doing, what it's all about. A lot of those teams have been there a few times. gotten through to the finals. It'll be interesting to see how Zambia perform. I think they're actually playing tonight, if I'm not mistaken. It'll be interesting, and I can give Colin a good one there at our club, at Aces. And I think a dark horse hopefully would be somebody like South Africa, you know, a young up-and-coming team, and really do us proud this time.
Calvin, thank you very much for that insight, and we're certainly excited for Bafana's game against Senegal. Can you give us a bit of a prediction?
Well, I'm hoping for like a 2-0 or 2-1, worst case. You know, you always somehow have to give a team a goal. I don't know why, but I'm hoping a 2-0 will really lift us up and get us going after watching Senegal in their last match.
Calvin, thank you very much.
Pleasure.